Welcome my beloved first-person shooter lovers. Today we'll be diving headfirst into the brand spanking new pixely shooter Diluvian Ultra. And your reviewer for today is no other than the most average gamer in history, Slim Bratsky from the winter wonderland of Sweden. Actually the same place that this game was born from. Now let's find out if this game is worth your time and buckaroonies or not. Let's do this. So what is this Diluvian Ultra? By the way, I hope I pronounced that right, because I have no idea how to actually say that. Well, this, my friends, is a first-person shooter game developed in 2023, but made to look and feel like something from the 90s. And it will let you embody a prince named Attila, awakened after millennia in deep space by an impudent invasion of your tomb ship. You pick up your blood sword and investigate. Are these intruders the old enemies from your past, or as yet unknown foes to conquer? No matter, they have rooted themselves into the ship and defiled all that is sacred to you with their foul presence. It is time to drag them out into the void and save your people. And in all honesty, a very good story. It tingles all the right tingles in my body. It is interesting, it gives a lot of room to evolve just as it does, and you never know who to trust or what other twist is around the next corner. But it features no voice acting. You will be stuck reading all the conversations yourself, which I've kinda come to the realization that it is okay as long as what is written there is engaging and interesting enough. And this game, it nails just that. I did not skip a single dialogue. I felt intrigued to find out what the hell was going on. One could say I actually really liked the story, and how it was presented with dialogue at the start of each level. And not to mention your pet gun, a gun that adds to the story and is with you throughout this journey, making it feel like you're never alone. Actually quite the worthy companion in a video game for once. I mean, it could have used some dialogue mid-level, you know, just to amp up the relationship between you and the gun. I don't mean massive dialogues, but more short comments on what is going on or what just happened in the level. But there is none of that to be seen. Now I think that the graphics sticks out in such a way that it is important that we touch on it early on in this review. The graphics, as you can see, are very pixely and colorful, set in this cathedral stone meets flesh ship, where the most part of it seems to be biological with the occasional cathedral-like areas here and there. At first, I felt like the graphics felt a little cluttery, almost like my eyes had to adjust after waking up from millennia of deep sleep in space, but the game, it starts to open up fairly quick after the starting area, and the beauty of it becomes clear as day. This is a perfect example of where every pixel has been put in place with great attention to detail. The mix of good lighting, 3D models and detail has been achieved to near perfection with the Unreal Engine in here. And if you're like me and fancy the Zerg class in StarCraft, well then this world will be right up your alley. Stone meets flesh just hits different when done right. And to keep on spinning on the StarCraft theme, the enemies in this game are humans who has invaded your ship for reasons you will have to uncover yourself. But that said, the enemies just kept on reminding me of Terran, the human class in StarCraft, boasting futuristic heavy battle armors and talking in very Terran type of a way. Now I have to say though that design-wise the game does stand out, and it feels very unique. Nothing really looks StarCrafty, neither the enemies nor environments, so don't get me wrong here. But I was constantly reminded of StarCraft, which is a good thing. I've always dreamt of a good StarCraft first-person shooter. Now the enemies, they come in many different variations, 11 to be exact, fairly different from each other, but they all have something in common, and that is their shield, and that none of them are actually hit scanners. What you will have to do to kill them effectively is to use one of your weapons that is effective against taking out shields, then weapon swap to something that eats flesh for breakfast, like your trusty pet gun or shotgun. And this, my friends, is where the first complaint comes in. Now the weapon swapping is just too slow and it does not feel that good at all. For once, if you you reload right after taking out a shield with your shield killing weapon, there is no way to cancel that reload animation. You're stuck waiting for it until you can swap, really breaking the flow of the combat. Which is a shame considering how much the game focuses on you weapon swapping to the right gun for the right situation. Other than that, the enemies and combat in general are very fun and well designed. Not a single combat scenario felt dull or boring, but rather very fair for the most part. A few times though, it felt a bit unfair with simply too many enemies on screen at once, making it near impossible to dodge their attacks. But those moments were few and far in between. Now even the enemy's armor sometimes felt just a bit too much. It takes a few too many shots to actually bring the armor down to then swap to a meaty weapon, making it feel like the pace of the combat really wasn't as fluid as it could be. But that said, I do like the mechanics of taking down the armor first and then weapon swapping, but it is not a requirement. You can do with just about any weapon, it just will be much harder just using one than actually swapping them. Apart from the shotgun, because that thing can melt pretty much anything that stands in your way. Now also worth mentioning is that every gun is upgradable. You can acquire an alternative fire upgrade to all the weapons, and then you get the standard increased damage, increased fire rate and so on, which doesn't take up too much of the game, but it is a welcomed addition. So when it comes to the level design and movement, I have to say that the game does a terrific job here. Every single level has you platforming for secrets. Secrets that will benefit you in the form of upgrade currency. Or it pits you in front of a platforming puzzle that never really managed to feel frustrating or annoying, but more like a nice moment to actually catch your breath between all the weapon swapping and slaying. And to help make all of this feel as good as it does, we got the movement. We have a double jump and a dash with just the perfect balance of it all. Enough for you to evade attacks and fly around the arena, and just perfectly trimmed for that platforming to feel extra good. And to make this even better, all the different arena style rooms that you will be battling in also feels vastly different from one another. Not only does each level stick out from each other visually, everything from fleshy hallways, cathedral-like small cities and different sci-fi settings. The same goes for the arenas. One arena might have a bridge with platforms, the other could have trees with jump pads scattered around, and the creativity just never stops in this game. I almost dare to say that the level design is some of the best I have ever experienced in a game. I mean, it's really fun, well thought out and creative. In conclusion, I think this is one of the better boomer shooters to release in some time now. It sets out to be unique and it really nails that. Everything from its art style to the level design, guns and the combat, it all just feels fresh and fun. And that is a task that is much easier said than done. So well done developers, well done. However, there is something that itches me a bit here, and that is that the game is not dropping into early access, but instead the base game consists of Chapter 1, which takes roughly 5 to 6 hours to finish. But once you're done, there isn't a heap of things to do. You're pretty much done if you don't want to amp up the difficulty and secret hunt some more. Now, to get access to the remaining chapters that will drop in the future, you will have to pay more. Each chapter is dropping as a DLC, which is an okay concept, nothing wrong with it really, but it's a concept that sticks out in today's day and age, and I feel like Chapter 2 and 3 should have been included into the base game. Depending of course on how long they are and how much of a different experience they will bring to the table, it might actually be worth paying that extra dime, but for now I thought it'd be worth mentioning at least. If you didn't catch it, this game is a recommend from me, and here are some more.